Welcome to Package Your Genius. I'm your host, Amanda Miller Littlejohn. I'm a former print journalist turned PR and personal branding pro, and I am here to help high achievers like you bring your genius ideas to life. Whatever gift you have to give the world, I want to be a catalyst for your next genius move. If you're ready to stop overthinking it and start putting yourself out there, you're in the right place. Let's go. Hey, Genius Tribe. Happy Thursday. Happy fall. Happy it's finally getting cold today, at least in the DC area, is really the first sign of winter coming. It's been really windy. The temperature has dropped considerably, and I am actually enjoying it. I'm really kind of getting a taste of what it's going to feel like to hunker down and hibernate this winter and get some writing done and get some good thinking and strategizing done before the spring thaw. But you know how you hear something a few different ways or from a few different people, and it just kind of sticks in your head. And that is what has happened to me this week. I have received a message 3 different ways from 3 different people, and I thought that might be a sign I needed to share that message with you. So it is been communicated a couple of different ways. So I'll say it's 3 different ways, and I've already talked about one of these before on the podcast, but it's the idea of striking while the iron is hot. So here are the things I have heard this week. Strike while the iron is hot. Invest while you're up and you have it. And make hay while the sun is shining. Now, granted, I didn't actually hear make hay while the sun is shining. That's just something my mom used to always say. And I found myself saying it to someone this past week. I don't even remember what it was in relation to. But this idea of getting things done while you have the chance, while you have the resources at your disposal, the energy in your body, the idea in your mind, and the will in your heart to actually make it happen instead of waiting for some future day in time when the circumstances might be better. And, you know, for those of you who may be thinking about regret and you're upset about not having done things sooner, or there are certain things that kind of passed you by, ships that passed you by because you didn't get yourself together in time to jump on the opportunity when you had the chance, when you had the money, when you had the relationships, and you're thinking to yourself, I missed my chance, I missed my moment. I'm going to tell you something that my dear friend told me this summer. My dear friend, Dr. Risha Moxley, said to me, because I think I was lamenting over something, and I was like, I can't believe I didn't do that. And, I missed that chance. That was so silly of me, and I'm so upset I'm having this realization now at this point in my life. And she said, well, you're not on your deathbed, are you? And I remember that, and it struck me in the moment, but it was so powerful because she was right. Yes, have I missed a certain opportunity in a moment in time? Absolutely. Am I still here? Absolutely. I am here, and I have breath in my body and the will to do new things. And so I guess in that regard, better late than never. But I was talking to my husband about this workshop that I wanted to participate in, and I've gone to the workshop before, and it's been really great. And I was asking him, well, I've been before. Should I go again? What do you think? And he's like, well, have you gotten something out of it? And I said, yeah. And he said, do you have the money to pay for it? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, then why wouldn't you go? And honestly, I couldn't even come up with a reason why. I was just being weird and trying to be conservative and saying, well, I've already been, so maybe I need to try to get the most and make the most out of what I've learned already? And, should I keep investing in this thing, even though I feel like I'm getting things out of it when I do invest? But he said, if you have it, you feel like it's something that is helpful to you and you can afford to invest, you should, because you never know. Like, you never know in 1 year where you may be. You may not have the time to attend the workshop. You may not have the money to pay for the workshop, heaven forbid. I don't know, you just might not be an attractive candidate for the workshop. You just never know. And so often, because I do the work that I do, I talk to people who are really on the cusp of figuring out their next move, their next personal brand move. And, I talk to people at various stages of, the life journey. So I talk to people who are in their late 20s, so they have a few years of career experience under their belt, but these are go-getters. They're moving fast and they want to get this whole career thing right. They want to get the business thing right. They really want to work with the people and the organizations and make the impact that they want to make in this life. They don't want to just have this series of roles that they look back on and say, oh, that didn't really mean anything to me. They want to be very intentional. And then I have people who are midlife, they've got a family, they've got responsibilities, but they've been grinding for over a decade at this point. But they do reach kind of this midway point, late 30s, 40, early 40s, where they say, okay, I've been working my butt off for the past 15 years. And okay, I'm pretty high up in the food chain of this organization or my industry, but I don't know if this is the end of the road for me. I don't know if this is all that I want. And I know that if I'm going to do something different, now is the time for me to figure that out so I can make a pivot if I need to. And then on the other side of that spectrum, I even talk to people who are either contemplating retirement, nearing retirement, or maybe aren't necessarily ready to retire, but they're ready to get out of the current way they're working and either start their own business or start consulting or using all of the time and experience that they have gotten, built up under their belt over their career to start teaching or coaching or writing books or, consulting others on the challenges that they have faced over their careers. But one of the things that comes up for everyone, it seems, is even the retirees, which you would think they would know, okay, time waits for no man. But for everyone at every stage in life, we all, for whatever reason, will still ask ourselves, is this my time and should I make this leap now? Will I regret leaping later? And do I have more time in the season that I'm currently in? And what I found just from doing this work is typically if you're asking that question, you have already reached a point of expiration in your current season. People who are completely fulfilled and happy and are still growing, right? If we think about the plants, I love a good plant metaphor. People who are still green and they are still, growing and they haven't reached maturation. They are in the thick of it. They're excited and energized by the work. They are maximizing themselves in every moment, still climbing, still setting their sights on the next appointment, the next project, the next position, the next challenge. Like they're in the game. But once we start looking around and surveying the land to see, okay, what do I want to do next? Or am I really happy? Or is this all there is? It's typically because we have kind of reached that final stage. Regardless of our life stage, it seems as though we all wonder if we have a little more time left in us at this particular stage. But if you are listening to this podcast, if you're searching for answers, if you're seeking and searching, that tells me that something about your current situation is not a 100% fit. And don't get me wrong, Most of us are always tweaking and getting things a little bit more of a custom fit, right? So I love to tweak my programs and my client avatar and my delivery model so that it is tailor-made for me. And each day I wake up and I'm doing the work that I'm doing, it feels like it was the work that I'm meant to do. But if we're waking up every day with a sense of emptiness or boredom or dread because we don't want to move into the next day or the next week, and we're really not feeling energized by the work that we're doing, it's time to make a change. And what is so hard, difficult, scary about change? I'm going to ask that again. What's so hard, difficult, and scary about change, especially when we have the strength, the time, the energy, the wherewithal, the financial resources, the mental resources, the energy? I think I already said energy, but again, it's important. The networks to do something differently, because we won't necessarily always have the same set of resources at our disposal. And so this idea of striking while the iron is hot, or making hay while the sun is shining, which I love that country saying, thanks to my mom for sharing that with me, is essentially, you can't make hay in the dark. You can't make hay if it's wet, right? Like hay needs to be dry. It needs sunshine, and sunshine doesn't last forever. And everyone knows that. Like, that the sun is going to go down. And so while you have the gift of sunlight, you want to get what you can get done. And so for you, what hay could you be making right now? What hot iron could you be striking right now? What investment could you make right now while you have the resources? And investment could be not just money, but it could also be time. It could be emotional energy. This summer, I spent a ton of time just kind of bonding one-on-one with my children individually. One of my sons did a film camp that was way across town, and so I would drive him there every morning and then come pick him up every afternoon. But it would just be the two of us, and we would talk and really, have these amazing conversations that we didn't get to do normally, because there's usually a group of us. It's, my husband and my other son and both of my sons together and I. But typically I didn't get a chance to spend time with him one-on-one. And so that was awesome. And we also just found time for movie nights over the summer, where I just watch a movie with him because he likes, different movies than my other son or my husband likes. And so we kind of had our time together to really just bond and build the relationship that we have. But typically during the year, neither he nor I have that kind of time to spend alone together, just because, we have a very robust school and after school life. There's 2 kids, so typically when I'm transporting them, I have them both together, and so that private time is gone. But over the summer, I had a different set of resources, and I'm really happy that I, in that instant, made hay while the sun was shining by spending the time that I could spend and taking advantage of the opportunity to spend that one-on-one time with him, because I think it did wonders for our relationship. We grew a lot closer, and the residuals of that time, I'm still able to see the benefit of those now, even though we're kind of back on our regularly scheduled program. And so that's just a small example, like an everyday example of how to make hay while the sun is shining. But when you think about your career and your life and your work, I don't like to belabor or bemoan the fact that none of us are getting any younger, but it's true. And I think, for those of us who live in the United States, and I'm pretty sure it's the same worldwide, like ageism is real. And so Not that there are not opportunities for older workers and older entrepreneurs. There absolutely are. But, the set of circumstances that you can thrive in changes as you get older. I think about that even now. I guess you would consider me in my peak earning years, but I think about, what does my life look like today? What does my life look like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? What does work look like for me and for someone who does this? How will I need to refresh my skills? What will I need to do to stay on top or to stay cutting edge and to stay relevant doing this work? Will I pivot and do something else? Will I remain the face of my company, or will I find someone else to be that and to serve in that role? And so I think about both my opportunities that I have at my disposal now, but also kind of succession planning and thinking about the future and thinking about what happens when I don't have this same exact set of circumstances. I don't want to take any of it for granted. And so I guess that's my main point. I think that we take for granted the idea that we have time and that we at any given moment can just decide, can just press a button and say, I am going to be who I want to be today. And for those of us who are launching businesses or launching movements, and we need to get traction behind us, we need to get buy-in, we need to get customers, oftentimes that requires a buildup that could take anywhere from a few months, depending again on what circumstances you have at your disposal. What does your network look like? What does your time look like? What does your profile look like? What are you working with, right? So that could take a couple months, but that could take a couple years, depending on what your circumstances are, and also the nature of the problem that you solve. How relevant is it? How pressing is it? How big is the audience of people that need to solve it? And that can even change due to factors beyond any of our control. So when technology shifts and certain things become obsolete, we can't control that. And so if we have a solution or a product or a service that is relevant today, there's no guarantee that it will be relevant tomorrow. So my message overall, I don't mean to just go on and fuss at you about taking things for granted but I just really want to reiterate and underscore that when we do experience success, it's time to go all in. Like, if you have found something that you like to do, that you love to do, that's profitable even, or maybe you haven't yet reached the stage of profitability, but you found something that works for you. You found something that you know you're good at and you enjoy delivering, and it makes you happy and it helps other people and it solves a problem. Go all in. What are you waiting for? You don't have forever, and that's a fact. That's not me fussing. None of us have forever. We are all here for a finite amount of time, but even less than the finite amount of time that we're here on this earth, for most of us, we are not going to be working up until our dying day. And so, the period between when we stop working, or we're no longer able to do what we do, or we're no longer in a position to be marketable doing what we do, between that time and the time we leave this earth, that's a whole window of time where we could very well be faced with the regret of not having done more when we had the chance. And so if you have a windfall of money or time or opportunity, don't take it for granted. Put your foot on the gas. Let's go. If you've finally figured out what you're good at and what you want to spend your time kind of making your mark doing, or you want to spend the rest of the time that you have doing it, let's go for it, because none of us knows when circumstances will change, when opportunities will dry up, and when we'll even lose the interest to do this anymore. So while you have the energy, while you have the strength, while you have the network, while you have the will, while you have the relevance, while you have maybe the income coming in to pay for the extra things that you want, while you have the time, while No one in your family is sick and needs you. Right? These are all things that could change at a moment's notice. While you have that moment, if you have that moment, use it. Don't squander it. Don't squander your moment. Strike while the iron is hot. Make hay while the sun is shining. Go out there and get yours so that regret will be something that you'll never have, because you will be able to tell yourself when it's all said and done, I had an idea, I had a goal, I went for it. I may not have necessarily reached the goal or done everything that I envisioned myself doing, but I went for it. And some of you will completely surpass the goals. Some of you will kill it and go beyond whatever you thought was possible. But I can guarantee you that those of you who have the inkling, who have that nudge, who have that calling, who have that voice saying, come after me. I am your dream. Come get me. And you ignore it, you will always regret not having gone for it when you had the chance. So a little sobering Package Your Genius episode for you on this crisp, brisk, chilly autumn day. I am coming to you from Washington, D.C. with a cup of warm, spiced chai latte and just really thinking about my own gratitude for this moment in time, where I am in my work, where I am in my family, where I am with my personal development, and just figuring out what levers I want to pull and what pedals I want to push a little harder while I have the chance, because nothing good lasts forever. And that's just real. I will see you on the next episode of Package Your Genius. Oh, before I go, I just want to give a big shout out to the new cohort of Package Your Genius Academy. We have a brand new group of ladies that started this month. So our fall 2019 cohort is up and running, and these ladies are killing it. I will definitely have to bring a few, if not all of them, on the podcast just to share with you the amazing things they are putting into the world. So I just want to say to you, if you are a member of the 2019 fall cohort of Package Your Genius Academy, I'm proud of you for going for it and for taking a chance on yourself and taking a chance on this work, because we are going to have an amazing end of 2019 and we are going to kick off the next decade of the year powerfully. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.